What's up, Broke Ass Nation? Good to see ya. I know it's been a while, and we really do apologize for that. But that's why I'm here today. Figured I'd give you guys a little update on at least what I've been up to lately. And tell you guys, we're still here. Just haven't been uploading really. So, if you don't follow our social media, please do. But you probably didn't see that I got a new project. Now, you can probably see it behind me there, all tore apart, or partially at least. Please excuse the garage here. It's an absolute nightmare right now. I mean, between trying to take that apart and having, 3 other cars in here and still needing room to work, it's been something. But anyway, if you haven't seen, there it is, my newest project. So it's a 1990 Nissan 300ZX, 2+2. That just means it has a back seat. Ooh. Now before I get into telling you guys a little more about those cars, if you don't know, Josh at LS Fest said that he wanted to start doing autocross, and he wanted to do it, this year hopefully. So that was a little bump of encouragement for me, because I've been wanting to do autocross, but been putting a lot of money into the Camaro, so it's like I kind of had to pick and choose. Well, with him starting to want to do that, I figured it would be cool to do it with him, give him a little bit more competition, give me more competition. That always makes things better. Try and be better than the other people, but when you know somebody, it makes it even better. So I figured I would use this. Now, like I said, it's a Nissan 300ZX. Now, I will put a picture up right now of what it looked like when we first got it in the garage. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of a body kit, and people's done stuff to it. It's a little beat up though, but don't worry, we will fix that. So, first things first, these have a V6 in them, which is the Nissan VG30 DE, or DET, which would mean it's turboed. Now, mine is a DE. I didn't get the turbo version. Honestly, really haven't seen too many. But it didn't matter anyway. My plan is to rip that out anyway. Now, these were really cool motors. I mean, if you can see, it does have two throttles there. Now, that's because it is a twin overhead cam V6, which made a good amount of power, but honestly, it was just a little ahead of its time and really didn't work very well. So, I mean, as far as I know, these motors were pretty prone to failure, but they were really fast when they were alive. So, I plan on putting an LS in this, of course. Now, I found out that the transmissions that are in these, this is a 5-speed manual. The transmission is the same transmission that is in the Skyline. Many of you may know what that is. So those transmissions are really stout transmissions, and they can hold about 700 foot-pounds of torque from the factory. Now, you can buy adapter plates and hook them right up to an LS motor. So right there, it's a good thing to use if you don't have the funds, or you don't feel like trying to find a T56 or a TR6060. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, I'm telling you, I'm really excited about this. Like, I found a place that has the entire, almost everything you need to put this in there. I mean, it looks like they make it really easy. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So a reason that I did choose this as autocross is because of the braking system on it from the factory. Now those are 4-piston front calipers from the factory, and it has 2-piston rear calipers. So this thing kind of stops on a dime, and that's all factory braking system. So no need to like spend a bunch of extra money to make the brakes any better, because to be honest, they probably don't need to be any better. Not for as light as this car is. And that's the other thing. The LS that I'm going to be putting in this weighs a little bit less than what this motor does. Oddly enough. Now, you can probably see, and from the picture before, it's got a, pretty neat carbon fiber hood. And yes, it is carbon fiber. It's pretty beat up though. But honestly, I don't care. Not right now. Body kit needs a little work. But it's there, it's cool. Right now, that is not my main concern. It's in good enough shape, for me to run autocross. I'm going to be putting all new suspension and bushings and everything on it anyway. So, it's really not that big of a deal. Now, just show you guys the inside. Somebody did put racing seats in it at one point. They're pretty crappy. So, driver's one will probably get replaced at some point. But, somebody did really love this car at one point. Look at that. Sparco steering wheel. I'll get that reupholstered. They put this, weird fake carbon fiber crap all over everything. It's on the gauges, dash, So somebody really tried to take care of it. They even went as far as having the rear seats custom upholstered so they kind of match the racing seats. That's pretty cool. But, somebody along the way didn't take care of it, of course. And now it's kind of in the state it's in. So, I got this thing out of a barn it had been sitting in for about 10 years. So, it's going to need some work, but I'm ready for the challenge. Now, you're probably wondering about the motor, so I'm going to get into that. So, the motor that's going to be going in this, like I said, is going to be an LS motor. It's going to be a good old LS1. Now, this motor actually is the original motor that was in the dumpster fire when I got it. It had 176,000 miles on it. Now, unfortunately, before we started this channel, that motor ran into some noise issues. So we ended up yanking it out and putting a different LS1 that is the one that is now in the dumpster fire. So, unfortunately, that all happened before we started the channel, so there's no video or anything of that. Now, this motor, like I said, had 176,000 miles on it. Honestly, when we tore it apart, you'd be surprised how good this thing looked. The noise ended up being a flattened lifter. It actually got ground flat because the motor had a broken push rod at one point. And it just, finally started causing issues. So, good thing is, nothing was really damaged that was important, nothing that was going to get reused. Now, what I ended up doing with this motor is going through and using a cylinder hone on it. And I used one of the ball hones, or as some people call them, the dingleberry hones. If you know what they look like, you'll know why. So, honestly, the cylinders were actually really nice looking to begin with. The only reason I used the hone was just to make sure, and to give them some more of that cross hatching to help the piston rings seat. So, I will be making a series on the rest of this build. I unfortunately just did not think about it at the time. So what I have done so far is I did the cylinder hone, cleaned it all up. I changed the cam bearings and put the new camshaft in. I installed the crankshaft. All my clearances were around 15 thou, which is honestly right in the middle of the tolerance or clearances for this, so that's amazing. Put new bearings. If you can see, I installed some ARP main studs. I mean, everything moves pretty nice and smooth. Pretty happy about that. You know, minimal effort. Love it. Now, the cam I'm going with in this is right here. Now, it's not the meatiest camshaft, and honestly, I don't want it to be. Like I said, I am doing autocross with this. So I'm actually doing a very, very mild build just because I don't want to make a shitload of power. If I make a shitload of power, this sucker right here is just going to go sideways and we're going to have a drift car. Which, I mean, who doesn't want a drift car? But that's not what I want this for. I have a 240. 240 is going to be the drift car eventually. This is going to be autocross. So we want to keep it that way. Now, that's why I said I'm doing a mild build. So the cam has a really good RPM range. I get, you know, pretty much full range out of it, which is exactly what I need. And then I'm just doing stock bottom end, you know, just do a rebuild. I am going to change the heads. So the heads I'm going with are these nice, already assembled racing head service heads. They got some decent valve springs on them. It's going to give me a lot better max lift and everything than the factory heads. The combustion chambers are a little bit smaller, so I will get a little bit more compression out of the motor, but not too much because, I mean, this is still going to be on the street, so I don't want to not be able to run pump gas or have an issue running pump gas. So it's a nice mild head, you know, it's a little bit better than stock. It's going to give me some advantages. The biggest thing with it is racing head service is actually underneath comp cams. So that is all assembled with comp cam parts, which makes me feel a hell of a lot better about buying a cheap head. So the last thing is then the intake system. Now I'm going to be going with a Phytech intake, you know, one of the complete systems that has injectors and fuel rails and all that. So hopefully that should be pretty good. It also has a good operating RPM range according to the manufacturer. So that's exactly what we need with our autocross build. Now, one other thing is I will be using a Holley Terminator X Max. I think I said that right. So that is a self-tuning ECU, and I'm really excited to try to use it. I've never used anything like that before. I mean, I've never LS swapped anything. So this is a lot of fun to me. You know, I love the LS motor. It's reliable, plenty of power, you know, cheap to build, or fairly cheap to build, depending on what you're doing. So the more I drive this thing, the more that Holley system is going to tune it and tune it more perfect, which is exactly what I need. Something that I ain't got to worry about. So, like I said, I am really excited about doing this, and there's going to be more videos to come about this build. I am going to be starting a series on me building the rest of this. I really wish I would have thought about it before, but you know, I'm an idiot, so I didn't. So look out for those. Honestly, I just really wanted to make a video today. You know, it's been a while since we had one. I mean, there really hasn't been much going on, but we've been slacking off anyway. You know, we haven't really been posting a lot of stuff on our social media either. So we're going to get back into the habit of that, especially now that spring is almost upon us. I think. I don't know. Ohio is super nuts when it comes to the weather. But hopefully, my goal is to have this done by summertime so I can start driving it and, you know, start getting all the kinks worked out. Hopefully that happens. Fingers crossed. But anyway, like I said, just wanted to make a little update video, you know, give you guys something to watch, and tell you about this really, really cool car. I hope I went over everything I wanted to. I honestly just got a little scatterbrained. But with that being said, we'll catch you in the next video. So keep off those jack stands and stay broke, folks. On behalf of all of us here at Broke Ass Motorsports Ohio, we'd like to thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed our video, please let us know by leaving a like or comment on our video. If you're new and would like to stay up to date on things, please subscribe or follow us on our social medias. The links to those will be in the description down below.